All right, we're live. Here we go. Going to hit up the Facebook group.
You're getting the thumbs up from me from behind Vuke's shoulder.
Wait, can I get far enough back? Oh.
All right.
We're in.
We're in.
Urine.
How could you say that? All right. All right. Everyone mute yourself real quick. I'm going to go ahead and do the intro. Jim. Oh, Michael's here.
Oh,
hi.
just in time.
How's it going, y'all?
It's going. Ran into some technical difficulties.
It's because I wasn't here.
Exactly.
That's my bad, y'all. So, what have y'all covered?
No sound, Michael. No sound.
Huh?
No, I
that's
can
just
hear you.
you, Jen.
That's mean. Nothing?
No, I can hear you.
Guys, I was muting y'all, not myself.
That's
I was
pretty
like, I think I should be in there.
Jim works as an IT
I was
man, by the way.
wondering because I could hear the echo sometimes when I was muted, and I was like, I feel like James isn't doing this right.
This is so weird. Okay.
We're good now.
Vuke, I saw you the other day.
Mitch said that I am using the Superman background that I used 2 months ago and sticking to it. I am, because I couldn't find a good picture from the movie to put as my background. So I was just like, I'm not gonna bother changing it, especially not with all the technical difficulties that we were running through. But it's good to see good old Mitchy Man here in the comments, and Ryan, the lesser of the two. No, I'm just kidding.
The two evils, you mean?
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and run the intro real quick. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Banter Fodder podcast. I'm your host, Drew, joined by Michael Hoover Dam, Jimmy Jam, the Walker, Texas Ranger Man, and Vuke the Cuke. Pretty epic. Whoa. And also a screaming Kanan in the background.
I don't know what you mean, man. That's a dinosaur.
I
heard a dinosaur.
Yeah, that's right. We're actually covering Jurassic Park 3.
I will be an active muter in this episode. I apologize in advance.
I think everyone except for myself is going to be an active muter.
He did not take a nap today at school, and then he fell asleep late this afternoon, which means he's going to be up too late tonight. So that sucks.
Oh, boy.
So,
well, it'll be entertainment for the people tuning in right now.
is everything okay on the Texas end?
So I cut my video feed here.
We are struggling with two of us on. Well, so I've got two separate sources of Wi-Fi right now, and I'm on one and he's on the other. So theoretically, it should be fine, but it's struggling a little bit. But it looks. Hey, Vuke, are you back?
I can't hear Vuke, but I think Vuke is muted.
He is.
Yeah, I'm muted. I'm muted. We're good. We're good on that part.
This is going well.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine, guys.
We got this. Y'all got this.
Worst that happens is I just join in on my phone, and it might be better. Honestly, that might be the move, as I might just join in on data.
You're gonna use a lot of data.
Yeah.
True.
I think I'm going to go ahead and do. We talked about doing this if it was going to be. Hold up.
Ooh, that goes real bad.
We're going to go in separate rooms, so
Okay, that makes sense.
I'll be right back.
Have you
Okay.
tried turning it on and off again?
If you try
And
turning it
I
on.
will stay right here.
Noise.
Hey,
Drew, you could just we
yeah,
can do
if,
the
if my feed keeps going bad, yeah, y'all can. Yeah, I would say y'all can probably go and do the intro. I would imagine.
well, I was gonna say we could do the
stuff.
intro again
And
since it's so
if my
close to the
feed goes
beginning.
terrible,
We can do the intro again.
yeah. And if my feed goes terrible, I'll just swap to my phone.
We're gonna make this work. Ooh.
All this because I bought a mic that uses XLR cables and not USB.
Well, listen, XLR is the way to go. Except when it's not.
That's what I'm saying. I blame
Yeah.
James personally, but
Yeah.
I blame James for everything all the time. It's always his fault.
Especially while his
Ryan.
camera and audio.
Don't
is
I
off.
know it?
This guy is sideways.
We're actually covering sideways tonight.
There we go.
There we go.
That was sick.
There he is. There he is.
Ryan says y'all gonna have to serve lunch at Tiffany's at this rate.
Probably.
This is such
Honestly, we're gonna have to serve
position
dinner.
I have.
I love the rocking chair.
That's great. Just be careful where you hold the mic.
Hello.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice. All right. Well, do we want to run this thing back?
Let's start the intro again. We're so close to the
All right,
beginning.
we're starting the intro again.
Sorry, everybody.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Banter Fodder. We're going to do it a third time. I had a stroke right there.
We're gonna do it live.
Live.
Hey, everyone, and welcome back to the Banter Fodder podcast. I'm your host, Drew, joined by my co-hosts, Michael Hoover Dam, Jimmy Jam, the Walker Texas Ranger Man, and Vuke the Cuke. Yes, I brought it back, Ryan, so you have to suffer with that word. But yeah, it's good to be back. We have good old Joseph Vuke here, friend of the pod. He is visiting James in his hometown right now, in an inferior state, by the way. North Carolina clears, East Coast clears. Anyways, though, Vuke is in town with James, so we were trying something with that, and we were just running into technical difficulties. So now Vuke is back in the East Coast. He's actually just in a different room. But anyways, though, guys, it's good to be back once again. We had to skip out on last week, but
It's all my fault. It's all my fault. Sorry.
It is
guys.
all Michael's fault. Gosh dang it. Anyways, though, we're gonna start out doing our good old, what have we been watching lately? And since Vuke is the guest, Vuke, just drop I don't know, 1 to 3 movies or even shows that you've watched lately that you just want to shout out really quickly don't be like James and list off 500 and take 5 years to like talk about them.
I won't be like James and take 5 years, but just for the sheer novelty of it, this trip I've done because I have gotten the honor and privilege to visit so many people, including old Hoover here, our wonderful friend Josh, and now James. I have gotten to see like 7 or 8 films in the past 3 days. So I will just quickly list, and that's it. Say Sicario, Covenant, Third Man, Oscar, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Breakfast at Tiffany's. We just watched it for this. And tomorrow we get to watch Ikaru in theaters. So I am very excited. More shouting the fact that I have gotten a beautiful breadth of every kind of film in the past 3 days. And I've loved it.
That's a great list, but I do need thoughts on Sicario. I've been looking forward to hearing your thoughts on Sicario.
Oh, it was wonderful. It's because I started Villeneuve at Arrival and watched everything since. I've never seen him just be in a normal world, and it was really fun to see how he constrained himself, and how inventive he got with. To me, like the sequence that was like the most impressive was the whole tunnel sequence. How his usage of coloring and changing the colors, but in a realistic way, but setting all these unique, just set after another. Oh, it was so good. And it's one of the, if not the most actor-led film he's done, where just everything rests on these performances, and they are perfection. So, great time. Well, great time implies happiness, but you know.
So much fun. Such a fun movie. I can't wait for you to watch Prisoners. I need those thoughts soon.
I'll get there. I want to get his entire filmography pretty soon.
Same.
Yeah, definitely watch Prisoners sometime soon. It's phenomenal. And all of you need to watch Ensemble. It is.
I will. I promise.
It's unreal.
We could all cry together.
We could. Hey, maybe we should cover it on the pod. That would be pretty crazy, right? And then we could all cry.
As an American, I don't know what Ensembles is. I only know what Incendies is, but you know, that's just...
And Sandy's.
Denis Villeneuve is obviously the guy who did Incendies, you know.
Exactly.
Oh no.
Gosh. All right. Well, we're gonna skip James. Michael, what have you been watching lately?
I've had a weird week of watching. So first of all, started with Iron Man. I rewatched it. Holds up. I freaking love Iron Man. Yeah. And then a couple of nights later, I was just feeling nostalgic, so I watched The Mighty Ducks with Emilio Estevez. And I loved every second of it. That movie,
I love that movie.
Dude, it's so fun. It's so funny. You forget how like truly funny it is. And I do think the humor holds up. And the child actors are fantastic. I'm a big Joshua Jackson fan. And obviously that was my introduction to him. And he was just such a kid. But Emilio Estevez is truly funny. And also that movie does go there with the heartstrings at times too, and it's just so I love all those movies. They're silly and stupid at times, but I love them. Speaking of stupid, then we watched Jurassic World Dominion. Kendall had never seen it, and she does want to watch the new one. I might actually get her to the theater to see it before it leaves the theater. So we don't get to go to many movies in the theater these days. So anything I can do, I'm like, okay, I will watch Dominion, even though I don't like it. And it was just as bad as the first time. And that's all I'm going to say about that movie. And then I watched the movie we're talking about tonight, which is, I can't wait to talk about. But yeah, that honestly it's kind of an eclectic week of watching, but it's been fun.
A lot of taste there, right?
Yeah. A ton of them.
Man. Curry just came in and he said, came in right as y'all poop on Dominion. Guess I gotta go.
Bro, I'm sorry. It's just so bad.
Was that
It's
still a
just so
poop
bad.
joke? I can't tell. Yeah, Dominion sucks. I'm sorry. Oh man, James, it's finally your time to shine.
Godzilla versus Mechaguirus, not very good. Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, pretty good. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, masterpiece. Resident Evil Apocalypse, absolutely atrocious. Godzilla -1, really, really great.
You mean,
Fantastic
yeah,
Four First
great.
Steps, really great. All right, really great.
Oh my god.
Wait, this one's important.
Okay.
Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack, really good. Resident Evil Extinction, almost a real movie. It bordered on being a real movie. The Third Man, one of my favorite movies of all time. Can't wait to talk about it. Top
Next
5
week.
for me. Oscar, really funny, charming 90s Sylvester Stallone comedy. Just a pleasant, funny time. And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I love that movie. It's so wacky and fun, but I love that movie.
I have to interject. I forgot. I totally left off because I was on. It would have been going like I had to have opened a different page on Letterboxd for that movie to come up. I did watch Fantastic Four, awesome, and James is speaking the truth. That movie is great, legitimately great, and it might be better than Superman, which I loved. So,
No.
and Drew can just. I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it.
Well, I also have to interject to say the reason that we watched Oscar was me bringing it up because that is one of the movies I watched as a child and has like one of those every line is burned in my memory. And it's not like top 10 comedies all time, but it is incredible and one of the most quotable movies you've ever seen once you've seen it once or twice. And also it was the first Tim Curry role I ever saw, and it's iconic. So,
Nice.
Shout out Oscar. Nobody knows what it is. More people need to watch it.
I was looking at my my Letterboxd friends because I saw you guys watched it, and I surprisingly have a lot of people who have rated it, and it was all anywhere from like 3.5 up to 5 stars. So I was like, man, I gotta watch this. And Sylvester Stallone in the Rocky movies, he's actually like legit funny. So I'd be really curious to watch him in like a straight up like comedy role. So I'll have to put it in the watch list and check it out.
He plays a mobster named Snaps Provolone. That's all you need to know.
All right,
Okay,
you told me.
I'm in.
I'm in. Yeah.
No convincing necessary.
Oscar's about to get some Oscars for that name, for real, for real. Yeah. So my movie watching, I'm also gonna like rapid fire some of these. I watched Fantastic Four in theaters. I was really disappointed by it. Didn't hate it, just disappointed by it.
Just stop.
There's things that I love about it, a lot that I didn't. I do want to rewatch it and give it another chance. But I don't know when that's going to happen because there's so many movies coming out right now that I want to see. So there's that. Right after that, the next day, I rewatched the original Fantastic Four, not the like 90s one. I think it's 90s, but the 2005 one. And let me tell you what, that movie rocks. That cast is just perfect.
Yes, sir.
And it's, oh man, I love it. It's such a great time.
What did you rate it?
I gave it 2.5 stars, but like part of me wanted to bump it up to 3.
That's acceptable. That's accepable.
Part
It
of me
is
wanted
not
to
as
bump it
good
up
as
to
the new
3.
one. You cannot tell me that.
It's better. No, I'm just kidding.
Ridiculous.
But yeah,
I do have a soft spot for that one though.
Soft spot's fine.
I had a grand old time
Different.
watching it though. Another thing I watched, there is an artist that I really like who has just been popping off with music the last, I don't know, like 5-ish, 6-ish years. Named Quadeca. He started out doing like rap videos on YouTube. He would do like diss tracks and like try to rap on like different types of beats and stuff, but has now like kind of formed his completely own like voice, and it's incredible. Like he plays a ton of instruments now, he produces everything on his own, he writes all of it. It's phenomenal. But also he makes like movies for each of his albums. So he made like a movie for this album. It's essentially just like a giant music video, but it does tell like a story that follows along the music, and it's got some breathtaking visuals. He went all over the world, like in Europe, to film at these like just incredible looking locations that look straight out of like a fantasy world. And it was just like the perfect blend of visuals and music. While I was on vacation 2 weeks ago, whenever you guys did that thing you do, I rewatched The Undiscovered Country because I was on TV, and man, I freaking love that movie. I really loved it whenever I first watched it, but I think on this rewatch, I just kind of saw it for it being like genuinely one of the best Star Trek movies. So that movie rules. I watched Godzilla versus Gigan. It's okay. 2.5 stars. I saw The Naked Gun in theaters, and that is one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time. I was in tears several times. So good. It kind of like lulls around a bit in the second act. There's like a stretch of time where I was like, man, that could have been a little bit tighter. If you didn't spread the jokes out as much, it would have like worked with the rest of the film really well. But overall, I thought this was like a worthy successor to the original film. It sits right up there at 4 stars for both of them. So I was really impressed with it. I watched Godzilla versus Megalon. Also okay, but I really had a fun time with it. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. That movie is awesome. It's actually really good. Then I saw Weapons on the big screen. And that's one of my favorite films of the year now. I can't stop thinking about it. All of the hype surrounding it, it's true, it's real, it lives up. I had high expectations going in, and those were matched and even exceeded in some areas. So that's one that I also really, really want to rewatch because I was just floored by it. And then I watched Terror of Mechagodzilla mid, and then Breakfast at Tiffany's, which brings me to what the review is today. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Yeah, so the reason why we chose this film is because this month we were kind of just deciding, we're not going to do a theme. We're just going to kind of pick personal picks. And since Vuke happened to be visiting James, we were like, you know what, Vuke, we'll let you pick a movie. And Vuke picked Breakfast at Tiffany's. And this movie rocks. I'm a fan. I saw it for the first time maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. Really liked it a lot. I even gave it 4 stars. But I think on this rewatch, I kind of like saw a lot of things that I just didn't the first time around, and it really clicked with me this time. But I want to get some general impressions from each of you guys. So Michael, we'll start with you because this is your first time watching it.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I've always heard about this movie, and I know it's like a classic, but I honestly had no idea what it was about. I didn't know if it was like a rom-com. I didn't know if it was like a drama. I honestly had no idea. And so I went into it super blind. And from the opener, like the opening, the beautiful music at the beginning with her just walking up to the window at Tiffany's and walking around to her house, I was enchanted by it, like legitimately enchanted by it. I watched it last night. I started it literally at 11 o'clock. And usually when I do that, I struggle around a third of the way through to like stay awake. I did not have any issues. This movie hooked me. It's endlessly charming. And some of the best dialogue I have ever heard in a movie. Like, I loved everything about how people talked and the things that they would say. I adore it. I think it's a beautiful movie. And other than one horrifying thing that I'm sure we'll just talk about briefly.
We will.
But other than that thing, it's absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to get into the nitty-gritty of it. But I think it was also it's a cute movie. It kind of feels like I totally see it being very influential on rom-coms today, but it also had a lot of depth. There were moments of character where I was like, wow, they're really going there, and it feels so natural. Audrey Hepburn is incredible. Aubrey. I get it wrong every time. Which one? Sorry. D. Audrey. So I got it right. But yeah, she was phenomenal, and I think this is the first movie I've seen her in. I think this is my first Audrey Hepburn movie. I know that's crazy, but so not the last. Don't worry, because I loved her so much. But yeah, we'll get into it more. But I freaking love this movie. I gave it 4.5 stars on my first watch for it. So
Heck
wonderful.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I love to hear that. We'll get into it more later, but that's one of the things that you mentioned with just the depth that this film has. I don't know why, I just didn't remember that from the first time I watched it, but on this rewatch I was like, man, this really does have so much more depth than a lot of rom-coms, today, but also like for classic romance films. I feel like sometimes they can have surface level depth to the characters. Not always. There's a lot of great ones. We could name a bunch, but sometimes they just don't have the depth that this one goes to. So I don't know. It really stuck out to me on this watch.
Agreed.
James, what about you?
I love this, and I expected to be positive on it, but like it's like effusive love. I was like, holy crap, this thing is amazing. Weirdly enough, like I had, there's so much about this movie in terms of like visual moments is out there, like her with the cigarette holder, and it's just like, oh, breakfast at Tiffany's, yeah, you got the song that everybody knows, like it's out there and it's known, but weirdly enough, for how out there it is, like the actual plot itself doesn't feel like its reputation is really out there. It's just, oh, breakfast at Tiffany's, the Audrey Hepburn, yeah, and like that's all I knew was that, there's a movie called Breakfast at Tiffany's with Audrey Hepburn, and it's a classic. From what I hear. So yeah, I went into it thinking like, I tend to really like kind of like rom-com movies from like, this era. So I was like, I'm sure I'm going to like it. And then like during the opening credits, when it said based on the novel by Truman Capote, I was like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that. So it kind of was like an immediate perk of like, oh, hold up, we're cooking with something maybe. But even with that, I was really surprised by just like the maturity in the character writing and like just the insight the movie had into certain kinds of people. Was just really, really like, I don't know. It really like impressed me a lot. So yeah, I just almost, and again, it's one of those things like, dang movie, you shot yourself in the foot with this one thing, which, obviously we're going to have to dedicate part of the conversation to.
Yeah.
Cause like, it's too prominent to not talk about. But it's like outside of that, everything else I kind of love about this. It's beautifully shot, just 60s Technicolor is
I
just
love it. It's so beautiful, dude.
gorgeous. Using like the way it incorporates Moon River into the score. I'm completely with Michael. Like just from the very beginning, I was like, oh, we're watching cinema. Like we're watching something real right now. Just her walking around and the music and just all the just the different instruments at various points that are used to play it, and just the different emotions, different ways it's played evokes. And yeah, I had seen Audrey Hepburn in Charade years ago, and it's a little later, so I'd never seen anything from her from like this era. And to me, she, like, of almost any on-screen like performance or actress, I feel like it's easier to fall in love with Audrey Hepburn than maybe any other actress in the world. I told Vuke over dinner, like when we talked about it very briefly because we're like, we should save this for the podcast. So we were just briefly talking about it when we ate afterwards. And I was like, I'm pretty sure if I had knocked on the door and she like answered it the way like in the movie, I would have just dropped dead on the spot, most likely. So, but she's obviously way more than just like super beautiful. She has got an insane natural charisma. Like, she's one of the most watchable presences ever, where every funny facial feature, every reaction, her drunk acting is like the most funny, charming thing ever. Well, tough beans, buddy.
I love that so much.
I like, gosh dang it, I love her. So yeah, I really love this movie, and much more so than I expected going into it, and I expected to like it.
Oh, it does my heart good to hear these first time impressions.
So Vuke, before you say like, some quick impressions on the film, I do want to ask, why specifically did you choose this film?
Yeah.
Why not some of the other options that you had?
I had a few choices. And when I heard that Michael and James hadn't watched it, that bumped it up immediately. But really, the core of why this was the one I went with is when it comes to, everybody has those comfort picks, those movies that in any situation, you pop this in and everything else going on in the world goes away. And you are just entranced by the screen for the next 2 hours. And Breakfast at Tiffany's is that movie for me. It just, every time I lock it in, like both of y'all said, the opening moment of Moon River and her staring at the window all the way through to the very final moment, I'm just completely in this movie. And I was a little nervous, but excited to kind of like hope that I could share that and like bring another one of those movies to y'all. And so it's made me very, very happy to hear how effusive everybody is about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's something that like I feel like we've talked about a lot on this pod before, like comfort movies. We've reviewed plenty of comfort movies that we each have. James, surprisingly, we haven't covered Saw on the podcast yet, and that's James' favorite comfort movie.
We're really similar in that way,
Yeah, very, very similar taste. Yeah, but I don't know, I totally get that, and I think that's a really cool reason to pick this film, because it is. I can see why this would be a comfort film for you. This is just endlessly enjoyable, super fun and funny at times, but also has depth to it, has moments in it that'll pull at your heartstrings or make you think. It's not just strictly a comedy. It's not just strictly a romance film. and it really does have that like cinematic quality to it that, you know, it makes it feel a little bit more like an elevated comfort movie pick for sure. So I totally get why this would be a comfort pick for sure. But let's go ahead and like start digging a little deeper into the film. And I think Michael, hold on. Is that your mic that's having the feedback right now?
I don't think so.
Hold on.
Is it?
Mute yourself real quick. Okay, unmute yourself. I don't know what happened, but like your mic is picking up a lot of background noise. Like all of a sudden, it was fine before then.
Is it okay now?
Yeah.
It is raining here, and we have in our living room, we have these it's not a sunroof. I mean, it's basically it's plastic. It's one of these like fake sunroofs or whatever, but it is really loud when it rains. So I bet you that's what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You sound great now, so it's all good.
Cool. Okay, cool.
It just distracted me for a second. But yeah. Anyways, let's jump into the film a little bit. So I think just to start out the conversation, because the film basically opens up with it, let's address the elephant in the room with the blatantly stereotypical and racist Mickey Rooney character that really, unfortunately, does take the film down a little bit for me, just because he's such a prominent character. You know,
it's not blink and miss it. It's not like a quick thing. It's like, oh my gosh, he's got like 10 minutes of screen time.
Exactly. And it's all like perfectly interspersed. It's
I know.
Perfectly intervals throughout the movie.
He also has a moment later in the film that is like so consequential to like the plot and to character moments. So he's very involved in this film, which is unfortunate. I think that you could have not had his character in the film and it still could have worked, you know, equally as well, or had a different character in his place. And, you know, obviously, like, it's an of the times thing. This happens in this era of film, unfortunately. But this one was just a little bit more prominent. So yeah, it's unfortunate.
I definitely had the thought of just like, if it had just been Mickey Rooney playing a bumbling landlord, or if it just been an Asian landlord, like one or the other, both would have, like, the plot would have been identical. It's the same issue with her and the landlord, like, everything. Yeah. They just had to shove it all in one and have the worst makeup job. Ugh, that, like, you know, that's where it all went wrong.
Yeah. I was watching on my couch alone, and I was just like, he popped onto the screen right there, right in your face, and I was like, what? What have I watched? Yeah. We just started with this gorgeous opening scene, and then this. It really is sad because, like y'all said, it's interspersed throughout the whole movie. It's not like, oh man, in that scene in Holiday Inn, the blackface dance, oh, it really sucks. But like, it's of the time, and you can skip that scene, and you don't really see it again in the movie. Sorry, y'all, about the noise. You can skip that scene, and then you don't see it again, or whatever. And this is just like every 15 or 20 minutes, he pops right back up.
Yep.
Not real fast either.
No, they really take their time with them.
It's annoying because not every single thing he does is terrible. It's just what he is. That's like the whole. I mean, I thought one of the funniest jokes in the movie is when one of the many times they ring, and it's her and I think Jose. And there's just the water drop. on the railing, and you just look up and he's just dripping from his bath, and it's like, that's hilarious. Why did it have to be him? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it sucks.
Yeah, like Michael referenced Holiday Inn, and it's like there is the whole, it's of the time with these. You do like there are some of them. It's like, yeah, it happens here and there, and it's easier to be like, it's of the time. We wouldn't do this now, but it's not really affecting things too much. And then there are the Holiday Inns and the Breakfast at Tiffany's, where it's like this actively like affects my appreciation of it. So yeah, and then like also like Michael said, at least in Holiday Inn, it's just like the scene comes, it happens, it goes, movie continues. Although I'm not a huge fan of Holiday Inn even outside of that scene.
Thank you. White Christmas is way better.
White Christmas is a billion times better.
Infinitely better.
Yes. Everybody in Holiday Inn kind of sucks, actually. But anyways,
there is an irony to White Christmas not having that scene and anyways.
That's funny.
But to this is also one where it's like, man, there's really not much else to say. Like, there's no defense of it. It's just a particularly egregious thing, and I love the movie outside of this, so it's just one of those things that's like, it's there, it shows up, it continues to show up, you hate it every time it does. That's all there is. That's like what else? That's just it's a sucky truth about the movie.
Yeah.
I think it's honestly the one thing that keeps it from being 5 stars for me, because it happens so much.
Yeah.
Like, I think if it was a Holiday Inn situation, I might be able to just be like, oh yeah, that sucks, but 5 stars, like, I can't do that. This is like, it's so much and so consequential. He's so in your face.
Yeah, and because of not just like because of what it is, but because of how they portray that character as well, it doesn't tonally match the rest of the film at all for me. The humor that they play with a lot of his character, even though Vuke mentioned the one joke, but like a lot of the humor that they have for his character feels so over the top. And even if you're comparing it to the party scene, I feel like all the jokes in the party scene make sense to me.
Yeah,
because everyone's getting drunk, and it felt like fairly realistic for what it is. But his character feels like a cartoon stereotype, like on steroids, on full display. The party scene, you have like some, wacky stuff happening, but it makes sense because it is a party and they are all drunk.
And it's genuinely funny there because they're funny. They're comedic actors doing funny things, like, and like you said, they're drunk. So like, the party scene is one of the highlights for me. I love that scene.
It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah. Well, anyways, though, that part of the movie sucks. But let's talk about all the things that don't suck in this movie.
Which to me is everything else, basically.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So one of the things that really, again, I'm going to say this a lot just because I don't know if it was like in the setting, because of the setting I was in or the mindset that I was in, but the first time I watched this, I was like, yeah, this is really good, but I just didn't see it for what I saw it on this rewatch. But I think the direction in this is phenomenal, and the cinematography is great too. In our group chat, I sent a screenshot of a still from the film, where Paul and Holly like are in his bedroom, and she's like laying on his shoulder, and it's just this incredible like wide shot from on the other side of like, you know, the like stuff that's like dangling from his door, and they're just like perfectly in this little frame within the frame. And I don't know, there's just so many like intentional creative choices like that where it's like, you know what, we're gonna make a romance comedy film, but we're actually gonna make it look like real cinema. And I think this is just like another one of those things where even like more genre based films like this back then, we got movies that look like movies all the time. So there is that element to it, but there's so many scenes in this where I was just kind of floored. I think the party scene the party sequence is one of my favorite in the film because there's so much happening and there's so many characters and the camera is moving constantly. There's a lot of long takes in there.
The amount of gags in that scene it's just like one after the other, and they're so funny.
One of my favorite ones is whenever the guy with the eye patch takes off the eye patch.
Because he's had, and it's the timing of it. Because he's had that eye patch the entire party. We see he's like one of the first people we see, and it's one of the last things we see in the party that he finally pops it up. My favorite, I think, will always be the girl at the mirror. Just like
oh my god,
laughing her head off, and then 30 seconds later she's bawling her eyes out, and it's
you know what it reminded me of? It's a little different, but it reminded me of there's a scene in Parks and Rec where they get drunk on snake juice. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that?
I remember that. Yeah.
It's a drink that Tom
Baba Booey.
Yeah, Baba Booey. Yeah, where it does these like really quick clips of. It's like a montage of them just being drunk right in front of the POV shot, or the not POV shot, but the I can't remember what they call it, but you know when they would talk to the camera like a documentary, they're just the way that they're talking like the way that they're acting is just like these people in the mirror, or especially the one that's upset. That one killed me. The one that's like crying. I don't know why that was so. It was sad, but it was also like, I don't know why this is hysterical, but it really did remind me of that.
It's both, to me. It is both like genuinely hilarious. Like, I mean, Vuke, I laughed out loud at that. I thought it was super funny, but it also is really sad.
It is absolutely
because of like the talent behind the movie, both like the screenplay and the director and just I don't feel like this is reading too much into it, but it also felt like it was kind of just a profound little moment that like all of the people at that party are just so empty copycats of everybody living the same life. And so like she can do this in the mirror because she's indistinguishable from everybody else there. So it's like her crying and laughing to herself in the mirror is basically her crying or laughing at any other person there. It's just like, it's just copy paste versions of like the same people in one party. And I don't know, it felt like, again, after I was done laughing out loud at it, I was like, that poor woman probably has such an empty, meaningless life.
Yeah.
But
how funny is that?
Yeah, it is funny.
It's hilarious. Yeah. Oh man, that's my kind of comedy.
Just again, and like just how natural everybody is, and this is gonna be my first time I shout out this episode, but I'll shout out often. Is at the very end when they're leaving the party, they're exiting through the window, and they open the shower curtain, and it's Martin Balsam's character. It's Brigham. Was it Brigham? I don't remember, but him making out with the girl, and it's just kind of this is Freddie Baby, this is Jose, the Jewel Thieves, just like, and it moves on. He's talking about people that are like whatever inside. He's so unaffected by everything this party is that like he's just completely unflappable because it's his entire life as a Hollywood guy. And just everybody has their own little space in this world.
Yeah, I want to touch on something that James was mentioning. It does actually feel like there is a little bit something more here than just the comedy and the fun of it, because like the film is so I feel like centralized on like this idea of like identity, especially with Holly as a character, her wanting to, you know, be something that she's not, or be someone that she's not, or trying to forge her own identity, make her own identity, or mimic people. Um, so and the fact that the party takes place at her house too, I think even just plays on that theme even more. Um, and that's where like some of that depth comes in that I was talking about, where I was like, man, there really is just so much more to this movie than it being a cute, funny romance.
You know what this movie really reminded me of, that I didn't expect? It really reminds me of The Great Gatsby.
Yeah,
Like, not just because like wild parties are featured prominently, but I do think it's like the wild parties serve the same function in both, where it is just empty excess and like meaningless, just excessiveness. And you know, none of these people mean anything to each other really, which is why like the fact that there becomes meaning between our two leads means something. It's like everybody else, it's whatever, you know.
They're all rats and
But
super rats.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Like these are, it's people looking to fill time with, you know, lack of restraint and just trying to fill lives with something. um but also what you said, Drew, like the source, like the idea of identity, I got major. It's like James Gatz turning himself into Jay Gatsby. You know, she's Lula May turning herself into Holly Golightly. It's like this
Yep.
idea of, whenever her husband shows up, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Gatsby's dad showing up at the end of the novel, being like, this is the life that this person had. You know, this is who this person was before. And just the sense that you can remove yourself from where you were and just completely create a new identity, uh for yourself, and try to like create meaning that way. And she also really reminded me, um of Mia Farrow's performance of Daisy in the 70s, um adaptation of Great Gatsby, of just like this kind of sing-songy voice. And Daisy in the book and movie, she says like the best thing a girl can be is a beautiful fool. Just this idea that it's just, you marry money and coast on beauty, and that's how you just get through life. You just try to get through life unscathed that way. And like I see a lot of that in Holly here, of, you know, cuts herself off from her past, creates a new identity, and is just about finding the person who can like give her that money that just kind of allows her to coast her way through life without feeling trapped. um and so yeah, I was like, man, there's a lot here. There's a lot more than I expected. So yeah, I thought there was, uh it definitely felt like just identity and meaning and stuff was a lot more central than I expected.
yeah, and it even has like the loneliness element of it too, which I also feel like is another big theme of The Great Gatsby too. There's a lot of parallels there, which, speaking of that, makes me want to reread it even more. Um, and I like the I like how Paul's character is also another character that, in a very different way, is also kind of struggling with identity. You know, he is a writer, but he's kind of been washed out. Like he hasn't really been writing much lately. Um, and he's kind of been reduced to just being this like emotional support for or whatever you want to call it for can't remember what her name is.
The decorator. I always
The
forget her name
decorator,
too.
yeah. That both characters are in a low point that we kind of see early on. And I think that's like part of why the sparks are kind of there, because they're in a similar place in some ways, even though they're also very different at the same time. I don't know, but I think it was just like an interesting way to introduce the characters.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a natural like magnetism to, when you meet someone else, you can kind of just get that sense that they're going through similar things, even though the situations are very different. But you're searching, both of you are searching for who you are and who you want to be. And I think that's my favorite thing about this movie is that thematic, the thematic weight of that all the way to the end, where she describes she's very much like her cat, like it's a nameless blob. Is that what she calls a
No name slob?
No name slob. Wow, I was so close, but so far at the same time. No name slob. And that's kind of how she viewed herself. And when she let that cat go out of the car at the end of the movie, it was like, that's how she felt, how that cat was. That's how she feels, like just so lost and like in the like belonging to no one, belonging nowhere to go. And then I don't know, it's the love between the two of them kind of picks her up out of it, and it's just really beautiful. And so I don't know, that it really did it ended on a happier note than I expected, actually, because the way it was going, I was actually expecting kind of a more somber ending. But I really liked that they did it, but I also would have really loved if they would have done that too. I could have seen either way. But yeah, I think that's one of my favorite things about this movie is the depth of her character. And there's some scenes in this movie where she like what does she call them? The red,
The mean reds.
The mean reds. Like when she has that initial breakdown for the first time, man, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna be asking character names all night because I've only seen this movie once. But the main guy,
Paul.
What's Paul?
Polly baby.
Polly baby. That's one of the reasons he's had multiple names in the movie. But
Jack.
But when he walks in and that's happening with her, it's like, wow, this movie is really exploring some stuff, and it's not shying away from it. And she is incredible in that scene. I was kind of, because I was charmed. I was enchanted by the movie to that point. And at that moment, I was just like, wow, this is a whole, I don't know if I've seen a movie quite like this. It hooked me with a vibe. And now this is totally different, but it works in the same movie. And I think that's why I think that's one of the reasons why it's so special.
I mean, it does so much with her character specifically, for being a movie of the time it is, how deeply it dives into not just identity we talked about, but into the themes of a lot of it is like trauma and abandonment. That if you like the thing about the story, talks about how like she calls it the mean reds. It's the same thing as when she's stealing turkey eggs and stealing whatever as a kid, like. Which her and her brother had to have gotten to that situation, we are told, because she was leaving a bad situation. And then, abandonment there, and then other issues that come from probably getting proposed to as a 14-year-old, different times, but still, and like the kind of role that she was expected to have there.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, right. And like he's presented not as like a bad guy, but just as like, but like it's
I
clear
believed
there's
he as a
issues with that
sincere
relationship.
guy who cares about her. I really did.
Yeah, but
Right.
also there's an element
like-
to his character where I feel like they're kind of pressing in on this idea of like he was kind of filling a void with his wife,
and he
being
was
gone.
very much also was kind of trying to trap her with her brother, and like there's as much as he's not presented as an evil person in this film, he's also definitely a force that there's a lot to unpack there. And so she's just through her entire life, it's been running away from these people and either being abandoned or abandoning. And so the conclusion of the film to be like, you know, all this stuff has happened, but it doesn't stop the fact that people do need each other. The way Paul puts it, that people do belong to each other. You know, that is a thing. And the beauty of Kat, I think, as the ultimate example, is the realize is when she knows that abandoning Kat, kicking Kat away, she knows that is wrong, and she realizes, no, that cat does belong to me. Is ultimately what's happening in her finding it and saving it, is going, I do have a bond. We do have a bond to each other. We do belong to each other. And that same thing applies to her and Paul. And it was just very much like, it's such a deep thing to have in a movie. Again, especially combined with all the trauma and all that. And then the one thing she does feel a bond to is Fred. And that everything there, which also is one of the most beautiful shots in the film, is when Jose opens the door and the feathers.
Man.
Oh my gosh. And the shadow.
Yeah.
His shadow on the floor. Oh my gosh. What a freaking shot.
Yep.
I love this movie, guys.
It's so good.
I think I was telling Vuke after we watched it, there is something that I just find so compelling and heartbreaking about like the lost character who's in the back of their mind aware of that lostness, but has suppressed it so well that they're almost fooling themselves, and are just, have the disguises up. She reminded me a lot of, I can't believe I'm going blank on her name, but the girl from Sing Street. There were moments of just like, she's going to be a model, she's with this guy and she's happy. And like, but there's a sense of like, she has such so many wounds from her past, so many things. And she is so lost and she is without direction, but she's presenting herself as if she's got everything figured out. And that character who is just trying to like go it alone and putting on the persona of somebody who knows what's going on with their own lives, so much so that they start to buy it themselves, but at their core have the sad kind of childlike sense of like, I don't know who I am and what I'm doing, and I'm actually really alone. That character, like, really, really, like, it makes me feel so many emotions. Like every time I see them done well in a movie, and this is obviously one of those. So there were just moments where, like, because she is so like inherently likable, even when she's being ridiculous. Like I mentioned it before, like the drunk scene. She's a hilarious drunk. She's so charming and funny when she's drunk, pulling out the drawer and using it as a step to get up to the like. That cracked me up. She was
also the scene in the club. Like, I laughed
the way
so
she
hard.
takes her glasses down. Like her expressions are so funny.
Yeah.
Like she's just she is so likable. If I lived in a place where like I opened a window and like Audrey Hepburn is playing Moon River on her guitar below me, I'd be cooked, dude.
Dude.
I'd be done, dude. Out.
Yeah.
It's the memes.
Yeah.
Big fan crying. Like that's
but like despite all, like she's got all of this just likability of like, oh yeah, you just want to hang out with her and be friends, and like it's just, you know, she's just so charming and magnetic. But there are those moments where the guard comes down and you're just like, oh my gosh, I just feel so sorry for her.
Mhm.
I feel like she's had no stability, no proper kind of support. Because I'm also with y'all where like the guy before, like the movies, it is a different time. But I also think, you know, the movie's aware that there is still something weird because like he assumes, like the movie chooses to have the dialogue of like him assuming he's her dad. Like that's the way that starts off. So the movie is like, yeah, he seems more likely to be a dad, right?
Right.
So like,
and it also points out that it wasn't an old marriage and that he's kind of clinging on to this really weirdly.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, there's a lot of that, but even with that, I'm also like, he's not really painted ultimately super antagonistic. He is not aware that this is not what she needs.
He's a person that genuinely cares about her, but it's not something that's healthy for her. And that's the real thing. That's a very real life thing.
Yeah. And so I thought the fact that the movie wasn't like, here, enter new bad guy, or enter something that's so of the time that it's going to age. It also felt like really maturely handled. And so, but yeah, like it's just with her, it's like for somebody who's just so magnetic and funny and charming and like fun to be around, there are those moments of just seeing all of her walls finally crumble and watching her cry. Is just like, oh my gosh, she really is like this lost soul that needs some kind of stability, you know. And I was glad I was with you, Michael, and now I'm like, oh, this could end in a really somber note, and I think it could have been amazing, but I think that would ultimately it would rule it out of like comfort movie territory too much. And I kind of am glad that I get to rewatch it knowing that we get our happy kiss in the rain at the end.
I agree.
And I love that she's still holding the cat and like the cat's face is
I
perfectly
love that
in
so
frame.
much.
It's so
You
good.
can see Cat's just like
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen the actor that plays her ex-husband or whatever. I feel like I've seen him.
Yes, you
before.
have.
I know you have.
I told James who it is. Drew, do you know who it is?
Not off the top of my head, no.
That, ladies and gentlemen,
myself.
is Jed Clampett of the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. That's I feel like
not the last person you'd think about, but it's totally him.
I feel like I might know him from something else too. I'm gonna have to look up his filmography later and see. But I feel like because I know that he's in that. That's a good call. But I didn't grow up watching the Beverly Hillbillies all that much. So I feel like I know him from something.
I did watch some of it, but I definitely watched more of the Andy Griffith Show for sure.
Fair.
As somebody who did watch a lot of the Beverly Hillbillies growing up, whenever Vuke said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's Jed. Now I can, obviously, because it's so obviously him. But yeah.
Speaking of actors that just tickle your brain, I referenced it briefly, but I'm so happy Martin Balsam is in this movie. He is like my personal old school actor that I just love to find pop up in all these places. It's OJ Brigham, the Hollywood guy. And every time he pops up in another movie, it just makes me happy. He's in like a random episode of The Twilight Zone. He's in he's 12 Angry Men. He's juror number 1. And I just
What a
can't
what a
help it.
film
Everything.
too, dude.
He's
What's that?
also the private investigator in Psycho that has the
Yes.
famous stare kill.
Yep.
And
He's
every time
in-
he shows up in a movie, he's just one of my favorite parts of the movie. I love this actor.
Yeah.
By the way,
he's-
apparently, the guy that was from Beverly Hillbillies is also in the Andy Griffith Show at some point.
Okay.
Nice.
Makes
Check
sense.
that.
Might have been a crossover episode.
Yeah.
But on Martin Balsam though, he's got so much like he's not a character that is just there to read lines. Like you could have had him as a character who's just there to say lines, but he brings so much personality to it. Like even from his intro where he's talking to the parrot and he's even using like the baby name for the parrot, baby. He's like, "Oh, got yourself stuff, huh, baby?" And just like what, like in his conversation, there was something so funny just about the visual gag when he's talking to Irving, and he's like, "You want a drink?" And then her left hand comes in a frame holding a drink. Or he's like, "You got that in the pocket or something?" I love like the repetition in his dialogue of like she's a phony, but she's a real phony because she like it's just
Yeah.
He's such a funny kind of presence in the movie where he is of this scene, you know, like he is there making out with Irving, he is there drinking. It's not that he's not of this group, you know, he is of this kind of people, but he's also aware of what they are as well, and even like what he is. So he's kind of like this in between character who can like talk to our lead characters in ways that is like human, but is also completely down, like able to just step into these parties and just exist as one of them as well. And so he's a really funny presence to me in the movie, and I love, I don't know, all of the humor that they get out of him works for me.
There's
Oh, yeah.
this
And
one
the other thing I
little.
love about him is just that he has, I think, one of the most important lines in the movie. In that, like that whole she's a phony, but she's a real phony.
Thank you.
I
Good
think
job.
that
Yeah,
is like that is a like foundational line that I just adore.
Yeah, because it's very descriptive of her and the thematic elements behind her character. I think I love that line. There's this. Sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I was going to another thing that he did.
Okay. I was just gonna say the movie, I think, is aware of the profundity of that line too, because when he says it again to him when they're talking over the phone, you know, because he's repeating, you know, she's a phony, but she's a blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And Paul is like, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So freaking good. So freaking good.
Brian left a comment. I admit Holly or Go Lightly. I wouldn't have bet Go Lightly was her real last name, while Holly was the made up first name.
Great point.
Yeah.
Speaking of just funny comedic things, he does this one really quick thing he does when she needs her cigarette lit. And Paul pulls out the match and is like going nice and slow, but he lights it for her. He's very careful, and then he just goes and just blows it out. And I got you. That killed me. It's such a super quick thing, but also tells so much about him. I just thought that was such a great. You have to have incredible comedic timing to make that work, and it was so good, so funny.
It's the fact that it's all one action too. He doesn't blow out his light and get it. It's that
I know
somehow it feels like the act of giving her the light is also blowing out his light. Like it's great.
It's so bad. And Paul's face after he does it, it's like so dejected.
Oh man.
Paul, I also think like Paul is an interesting character, where, and not to just like try to force another Gatsby thing, but he reminds me of Nick from it, of like the guy who's like really amused by all of this, you know, like he thinks it's funny, he has fun participating, but ultimately he, more than anybody, like he kind of just becomes disillusioned with it. And I thought Paul was really, I don't know, I thought he was really compelling. Just from the beginning, he's at this party and he's taking part in it. I love whenever he's trying to, going back to the party scene, one of my favorite bits was when he's trying to get to the door, but there's that lady who's just clinging on to everybody. So he dances with her until he could pass her off. And then that person dances until he could pass her off. And she's just like clinging to whoever she can. Like that whole thing of like, I got to like literally dance my way to the door just to get out of here.
Or before
Where he
then,
just like pops the glass against the girl's back.
yeah, I was about to mention
that cracked me up.
Yeah,
that was so
good.
funny,
So good.
But like he's there and he's having fun with it all, but I think he does come to just see, gosh, how, you know, this is all very fake, these connections are fake. And I think the fakeness of that, and it, like just him, I love the movie's way of showing like the discovery of like their feelings for each other, and the fact that like there's something authentic happening between them while all of this fake stuff happens around them. And I think it's like him coming to realize how fake everything is kind of what has him have that moment of confrontation with the decorator, because he's kind of realized, well, whatever this is also fake, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a real thing either. So just watching him kind of come to realize all of this, and realize that like there is something shared between Holly and I that seems to stand in contrast to every superfluous detail in our lives outside of that. And a moment that I thought was really great is, you know, we keep hearing the whole, you know, $50 for the powder room, $50 for the powder room. This is always the price.
Wait. My son is running around naked. Go ahead. Sorry. my instinct was to say, wait, and cover the camera.
Turn off your camera if you need to.
Yeah. But so with that, with the scene though, you know, we hear that again and again of this is kind of like the price we associate with these guys, you know, these guys that are clearly interested in her, and it's, you know, she's not interested in them, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just kind of just her feeling, you know, a way of making money and all of this. And that moment whenever he's like, so I was just a rat, you know, I was either a rat or a super rat or whatever. Whenever he gives her the $50 and he says, well, in that case, here's $50 for the powder room. I thought that moment was so great, because what it's doing is like, when, you know, like if any other of the guys did that, if they're like $50 for the powder room, it's like, okay, yeah, business as usual. This is how this exchange is supposed to go, you know? And so whenever he's like, if that's how you see me, then here, you should take this $50 for the powder room. And he leaves. And the fact that that exchange happens between them, and she looks back and is just like, you can see her heart sink. Like that was the moment, or at least one of the big moments for her, where it's like, if this happened with any other person, I'd be like, yeah, business as usual. That's what was supposed to happen. But for this guy to hand me $50 and say it's for the powder room and walk off like this was just an exchange, you can see how much that hit her. And yeah, I just thought that was like, I don't know, a really great moment, both because it's him acting out of his realization, and it's kind of bringing her into that same kind of realization.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
Sorry. I want to. Hold on.
Okay. I was gonna mention this earlier. This is gonna be like a slight change of subject. But at some point James, you were mentioning something. Can't remember what it was, and it was something to do with Jose, I think. But I wanted to bring this up because like I've had the thought in my back of my mind like since then. But I really like how just another like layer to this film's writing, and the depths that it goes to from the beginning, like of our introduction to Jose, or at least like later on in the party, like when they have the phone call and he's like, oh yeah, he's threatening to call the police, and Jose's like, oh, I can't have that, like I can't have, I need to get out of here. They established right away that like he can't have bad publicity. And so I like how like the film just kind of like sets that up. It's almost like a Chekhov's gun in a way. It just sets that up and like kind of sprinkles that out throughout the film, which then leads to like the penultimate part of the film where everything goes down with that and him, leaving and everything. I think that there's a lot of pieces to this film where they set up they establish these things about characters from an early appearance.
Tomato's a gangster, that's a thing that's there. It's like, oh, you're gonna be
Yep.
seen talking to a gangster, like you. So yeah, all of this stuff that seems like maybe it's just funny details that are only there to just kind of just be a funny detail, and it's like, oh wait, no, that's a thing that comes back.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Shaughnessy.
I love
Another favorite line of the movie.
It is such a great, like, I love it whenever, like, sometimes it can be dumb and sometimes it can be hilarious, where just a visual reveal is the punchline to the joke. And so, yeah, like that with the whole, like, who's going to represent or who's going to be your lawyer? Oh, Mr. O'Shaughnessy. And then we cut to him and he's in cuffs. Like that was great.
So good.
I also love her just like posing for all of the like the paparazzi shots and all this stuff. And whenever Paul is up there, like talking at the front bench, if you look in the background, all you see is like she's still kind of like posing for all of the pictures and stuff. It's so good.
And then I love when all the journalists are like trying to say stuff all at the same time. And then she's like, one at a time now, one at a time. And then they finally stop. She's like, she smiles. She's like, thank you. And then they start going crazy again. Great comedic bits.
We touched on it earlier. Oh, go ahead, Yoga.
Well, no, it was just going to be more of a general comment of like, there is a lot to talk about and there's a lot of depth to these characters. But it's also, whatever it commits to being funny outside of Mickey Rooney, it succeeds. It's genuinely funny.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I had a bunch of just absolute laugh out loud moments in this movie. You too?
But no, I was gonna if I can bring up, because it's one of the things I adore, that Michael will also, I'm sure everybody appreciates, but Michael especially, because I know background, is a little bit more explicitly talking about this soundtrack. Oh my god, I love this soundtrack so much.
It's incredible. It's beautiful.
It is.
I'm already a sucker for Moon River without this movie. It is just a favorite of mine. And this movie is such Audrey singing it and all the other versions. And the fact that it's such a consistent theme, like it is used throughout the film. It's the beginning, from the beginning of the party scene to the actual intro, to my favorite bit is that it is the climactic final song in a completely different progression and pace and everything. It's got that dun dun, and I mean it, but it's still the song. And like, oh my god, Henry Mancini, please. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, so the composer, he's done a lot of like big classic films. He also composed Charade, which funnily enough is also a Hepburn film. He also did Touch of Evil, which I remember the score for that being fantastic.
Yep.
So
Great. Yeah, I remember that too.
yeah, and he also did the score for The Great Mouse Detective.
Yo, that's right. You know,
Underrated Disney classic.
Elite movie.
telling you, man.
Yeah.
That's that movie has some great music too. Like really, really great music.
This guy knows what's up.
He knows what's up
He
a little
does.
bit. Yeah, I love the use of that song as well. When James said it earlier. I mean, when she is singing it out the window and it's just her and the guitar, it is like one of the most captivating moments in any film, really, but of the movie for sure. Like it was like I had the thought, this actor, I don't know the actor's name that plays Paul, but I was like, he has the easiest job in the world right now. I have to pretend to be enchanted by this woman. I was like, this is so easy for him at this point in the movie. He's not working.
When she's done playing and she just looks up and smiles and she's like, "Hi." I was like, "Oh my gosh." This
I
is
know.
phenomenal.
That's like, hi. I mean, no, Paul, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I think that one thing that I also really like about this, it's her. I feel like it's her like actually being herself. Like this is like really her, and she's in a
Right.
very vulnerable space when she does that. Not just from singing, not just from what's happening thematically with her character, but even down to like her appearance. Like they specifically made her not wear makeup in that scene. And I felt like all of that was like very
Not that I
intentional.
could tell.
But it's like there's so many other scenes throughout the film where like she is wearing like all of this makeup and like kind of trying to blend in with like the culture that she's like put herself in. So I feel like this is like it's just like layer upon layer of like this is her being like authentic. This is actually like the real Holly. And it was just like one of those little details where I was like, man, that's really cool.
And that that ties back to, I mean, obviously that just the theme of identity that we've been talking about with her, and like who is Holly, Lula May, whatever, like who is this person? And it was like whenever the line is first said, I thought it's just to be a joke, and maybe it's real, but whether it's real is whatever. I didn't realize the importance of it at the time, but whenever Martin Balsam's character is like, "Oh, you should have heard her whenever I first met her," it took a year to get her sounding like what she sounds like now. And in your mind, you're like, "Oh, whatever, like that's haha, whatever." Taught her French to speak like that. It's a joke. We move on. But then we meet Jed Clampett, and we're like, "Oh, wait, she's Lula May." And you see her in the picture. You're like, "Oh, this goes back to that line. She really has up and completely changed her identity." And it almost affected the way I just heard her after that reveal, because she is so committed to like, that 60s era way of talking that's like vaguely British in America kind of like
That transatlantic.
the transatlantic kind of dialect. And it's not, she's committed so hard to it where it's not even the bit, because it is now just how she sounds. And there's almost almost a whole level of sadness just to that, where she has almost irrecoverably buried part of her identity, to where like now she naturally doesn't even talk like how she talked before. But yeah, I just thought like that was a thing that kind of stood out to me after he shows up on the scene, where I'm like, she really has completely changed, because she is just so she is the archetypal kind of like mid-century happening it woman kind of thing, and it took work to completely carve this new identity, and she's like hardly recognizable in that old photograph.
And to Drew's point, I think it's Drew that originally brought up the guitar scene. I think while it's not really stated, I think that part of the vulnerability in that as well is if you consider her holistically, that doesn't feel like something she learned for her identity. That feels like something she already knew as a girl in Texas or whatever, like that she probably just sang songs to herself and played guitar. Like it feels like we even see the guitar as one of the is explicitly a belonging we see in the cab actually as well. Like it's like seems like one of the things that she actually seems to hold value in.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
It's one of the
That's a
few
good-
items you actually see in the cab. So like
part of me almost
that's-
feels like it's something that's like sentimental, like maybe it has like some sort of emotional tie to like Fred too. I know that's not like really stated, but like that's just like the vibe that I get from it.
In some
Right.
way, it's a piece of her life that she kind of like it's a piece of Lula May that she's like still able to carry with her.
Yep. Gosh, man.
I love talking about movies with you guys. It's just like, I mean, like I caught a good bit of this stuff the first time around, but there's some stuff I did miss, and I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm just seeing this movie's even better than I thought, and I thought it was incredible. So,
Well, just from me having seen this like twice now, I can tell you that rewatches are worth it.
Oh.
Not just from like an enjoyment standpoint, but also like seeing how much depth there is to it. Because I did not see like most of this the first time I watched it.
And again, this is one of the reasons it is a comfort pick for me, is that there has been so much that you just absorb as you watch it, that you just see everything coming together so well. Even with Paul's character, how his journey, the discovery of how people belong to each other, that theme, how he was as purposeless and vague as we see her, but then it's one of those where that bond, him having a bond form, he didn't remember who he was until somebody reminded him. And at that reminder, that is the explicit moment he actually starts to write again. And actually, which leads on the journey. And then by the end of the film, he has stepped out and actually remembered who he is and actually been who he actually, is because of that, and is a writer and is doing it. And it's not making a ton of money, but he's being that person. And it's that same theme, what he's now trying to bring her, saying, you've trapped yourself in your own cage that you can't escape. This is the realization that, people do belong to each other. This is a thing. This is real. And that's when you actually get to learn about yourself and actually be yourself and all of that. When you have that safety of when you're in that relationship. Not that, everybody needs to be in a romantic relationship, but like that you have to be willing to have bonds with the people around you. We're designed to go beyond the movie, but we are designed to be people that are around people. Even the most hermit person, at some point in your life, it affects you in a negative way to have nobody there,
That one line, sorry, James. That one line where near the right at the end of the movie, where he's like in the middle of it, he's like, you call yourself a free spirit, a wild thing, and you're terrified someone's going to stick you in a cage. Well, baby, you're already in that cage and you built it yourself. I was like, holy frick.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That's what I was going to bring up, was that. So I'm like, man, we can't talk about how great these characters and the writing is without getting to like that final moment. Because that scene is so packed full because you've got that line, and I think you put it in your review, Michael, where she's like, "I'm like Cat, like we're nobodies with no name. We don't belong to anybody. We don't even belong to each other."
Mm.
And then he hits her with that line. I love whatever. I think it's the way he ends that. Like whenever he's like, "You're never gonna be free because everywhere you go, you're gonna run into yourself."
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh
yeah.
man.
It's just
tossing
incredible.
the ring at the end. Oh, it devastated me.
Yeah, what does he say? He's like, "Here, I've been carrying this thing around for months. I don't want it anymore." It's almost like the thing is her. Like,
yeah.
Like,
well, because it was engraved,
Yeah.
like his.
Yeah.
What was on the engraving again?
It was like
I don't
initials.
think they ever say.
Oh,
But
okay.
it is most likely.
It was initials. Yeah.
Okay.
True love waits.
Because the guy at Tiffany's talks about it briefly. Which can we also talk about that as a comedic scene?
Sorry.
Oh, the Tiffany scene.
Yeah.
I love the guy who works there. Where whenever they're like, oh, $10, well, Paul is like, he's kind of afraid, he's beating around the bush to say it. I love how just matter of fact she is about it. She's like, $10. She's like, she's got no shame about it.
No shame whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he clarifies on the upper end. Like that's the upper limit.
The scene of them just out on the streets together is like
doing things they haven't done before.
Yeah.
Like,
whenever they're in the store, like trying to find something to steal, it's also like the music is just so like playful and it's like, and every time he looks at something and she's looking at it.
My second favorite theme is that first date theme where they're doing the do 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 do. I am like, this is the happiest song in the world. I'm here.
But just like watching them spend time together and like just their body language around each other is just like, gosh,
I feel like there's a lot.
People are in love, dang it.
There's a lot in this, like, I guess like montage is the best way to put it. There's a lot that happens in this that doesn't feel staged. Like it doesn't feel like they're putting on a performance. It feels very like natural and like improv in some ways. One of the parts that I was going to shout out is whenever he's popping open the champagne bottle, like that is like it was his actual response. Like there's no way that
this giggle he has.
And like it was like flying all the way up to the ceiling. Like I don't think there's no way they knew that it was going to happen in that exact way. So and then like him just like naturally like trying to bring it over to the glass. Like there's just moments like that throughout this like montage of them doing stuff together that just feels so real and genuine to me, because I think it actually was. And like, man, I don't know. Like I love this whole sequence. I love when they get the masks and then that like shows up again later on. Like
there's this scene. I have the movie playing silently right as we're talking right now, and I'm at the scene. They're in the kitchen, and she says, "I'll tell you one thing, Fred, darling. I'd marry you for your money in a minute." And she goes, "Would you marry me for my money?" And he goes, "In a minute. I guess it's pretty lucky we're both neither of us are as rich, huh?" And he goes, "Yeah." And the way that they look at each other in that scene, I'm like, there's no way they don't actually love each other. Like
she goes in and like kisses him full on the lips, and then is like kind of caught because it's like you just feel like she let herself do whatever felt just natural. Like
100%. And the way that he says "in a minute" and when he says I mean he's full James Bond. Like he looks so freaking cool and charming,
and he also
just
looks
completely
so,
in love.
My favorite line actually
in love with her.
And my favorite delivery he ever does is such a throwaway moment, but it's when it's at the very end, shortly before the finale, when they're in her apartment, she's making dinner, and it's like, oh, Jose hasn't said he's gonna marry me in so many words. It's like 4. So I was like, 4 words. And he just goes, will you marry me? And when he does, like, I swear you can see he's genuinely asking her. But like he's not, but like you can tell him saying it is like I'm
There are 2
saying
things
this.
happening.
You don't see it, but I'm saying this to you. And I'm like,
Yeah.
my heart.
He does a great job.
Oh.
I feel like for good reason we all talk about Audrey Hepburn in this movie, but he is phenomenal. He really, really is. And I don't know. I honestly don't know much about him as an actor, but I want to watch more stuff with him in it. I think he's just
I haven't seen anything else with him.
I don't think I definitely haven't. I've never seen him before, but he's phenomenal. Like this couple works because I mean, obviously she's great, but it works because he's great too. And I mean, there's like these, like y'all talked about, obviously the scenes where they're totally in love with each other. Those charismatic scenes, like those are living on their genuine charisma. But those scenes where he actually like confronts her, or there's like double meanings going on, and she's saying stuff, but he's saying stuff, and you know what he's talking about. You know that he means something different because of his eyes, the way that he looks. Mm-hmm. He's doing a great job truly acting. And I don't know. I wanted to sing his praises because I want to watch more with him in it. I think he's just so good. I don't know how big of a career he had, but I hope he had a big one.
Yeah, looks like he's in a big Western and a couple other movies I'd recognize. So I definitely want to watch more from him.
Yeah, me too.
Also, I feel like I say this anytime we cover anything that ever has anything to do with the 60s, but fashion-wise, we as a society peaked in the 60s. And honestly, every step we've taken further has just taken us backwards fashion-wise. Like both men's and women's fashion. I mean, this movie is famous for, like the black dress and I mean, every outfit she wears is incredible. I love all the hats. Like women's 60s sunglasses, I love. I just like watching Man from U.N.C.L.E. every time Alicia Vikander is in like one of the big butterflies. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just perfection.
Even Audrey's most casual outfits still look incredible.
Yeah, like the head wrap thing is one of the coolest. I'm like, gosh, this is anytime in these older movies you see like the head wrap with the sunglasses tucked into it. I'm like, well, that is absolutely perfect. But also men's fashion, like the high-waisted pants with the cardigans and like the skinny ties. I'm like, gosh dang it, we looked so freaking cool. What happened? I love
men just wore suits all the time, and it was like those were normal clothes.
Yeah. And I love whenever he'd have like a really cool like textured jacket with a cardigan underneath. I'm like, oh my gosh. Every scene change was exciting almost just because that meant there were going to be new clothes. I was like, what's he going to wear that I'm going to wish I had now?
I love their outfits. Whenever it is like the montage, you see very intentionally they're wearing like he's wearing like a blue jacket. She's wearing like bright red. And it looks so freaking good in that Technicolor. So good.
It does. Gosh, those colors pop.
I just think everything just looks so beautiful in this Technicolor. Like I honestly thought this movie. I think that there's a black and white version, and I was a little bit like I think it was filmed to be in color. I think from what I read.
Oh yeah.
But I was almost like, there's those older movies that were obviously filmed in black and white, but then they added color later. And like, I refuse to watch It's a Wonderful Life in color. I can't do it. Yeah. I literally can't do it.
Yeah.
I was afraid. I was like, oh man, the one that I rented is color. I hope that's not going to ruin it. But as soon as the movie started, I was like, no, not at all. Oh, we're good. This is so beautiful.
It's like watching.
What? Sorry, go ahead.
It was like watching Vertigo, where you're like, oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
60s, man. When we shot color in the 60s, we made those blues and reds and greens pop. This is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it
Exactly.
also has that like Vertigo thing. I remember in Vertigo there was there's the whole scene where there's like the bright like mint green like neon light
in the windows.
And there's a scene in this film that has like a similar effect, lighting effect, where it's like a bright pink, and it looks so freaking cool. Like we used to light movies so good.
We used to light movies so good.
We did. I was there
back in the day.
Even the little things of like, it's such a tiny thing, but I love the little scene change effect of whenever somebody goes into a phone booth, and they do it in this movie, where he goes in the phone booth and he picks it up and the lights like go black behind him and a spotlight shines on him, which is not at all what happens in a phone booth, but like,
but it is, dang it.
But it is.
I wish it was.
Right. Oh.
Yeah. So many great shots. So many just. I mean, everything in the montage looks gorgeous. Everything in the. Yeah.
I think I tend to look for like those static like stills of like this still is perfect, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This movie, it's the movement that's perfect. I mean, we talked about the party scene how many times, but so much of the humor and the whatever of it is how it, you know, and there's clips between, but how the camera's watching the cigarette and then zooms out to see the thing and then goes here, then watches the thing and you know, and then even when they're montaging, there's a moment where the camera just is like down here and they're just walk around in almost a full circle and then end at a spot, and it's just perfect. And it's like all these movement shots that just sell the action. The five and dime, it's not one take, but there's these long takes as they walk. It might be one. I don't think it's one take, but it feels like it if it isn't, where they just walk through the entire store and it's following them on just perfectly smooth, like whatever. It's so good.
I feel like there's a lot. I was just gonna say real quick. I feel like there's a lot of, and this is not. I'm saying this with not throwing shade at old films, but there. I see James is like, "What are you about to say?"
No, you better not be.
There's like, I feel like in a lot of classic films, you know, when there's movement with the camera, it's not often. Especially from like around this era.
Watch more movies, man. I'm kidding.
Or you know, it'll just be like a pan or something like that. But that's one thing that really impressed me with this. Like the camera does move a lot. There's a lot of motion to it, and it just, for me, it really sells everything that's happening in the film. Like I feel like I'm in it just a little bit more than if the camera would have just been like, you know, stationary. And I think it would have worked just as well, or like it still would have been like really good if it was stationary. But the movement in the camera is so good in this. And then when you do get, you know, the shots where the camera isn't moving and you get those like incredible stills, like all of those shots look great. I love the shot at the end of the film where they're kissing and holding the cat, like I said, but like it starts out wide and then it like the camera pushes in, and I love it. And then even you know, a lot of times when you get shots of like car scenes in classic films, like you can tell it's not real, but and you know,
they got that rear projection effect on lock.
Yeah, in this one, you know, it obviously is a projection, but it looks pretty convincing. I think like the rain helps it a lot. And just the way that they're acting in the car works really well for me. So there's just so much about this film is shot so freaking well.
There's this shot near the beginning of the movie where they're walking up, like out of the apartment and up to the curb, and I think to hail a taxi or something, and the camera is like across the street, but it like as they walk up to the curb, the camera zooms into them really quick, and I was like, whoa, that's like a modern shot. Like that is that's I just didn't expect it in this movie, and there's stuff like that all over the place in this movie. And yeah, I love the camera work. It's so freaking cool. So style, guys.
So style.
Much
So
style.
stylistic.
Very nice.
It's my wife.
Yeah, even the times that it is static, there's purpose behind it of like whether it is we already talked about. God, one of the greatest shots in the film, the door opens with the feathers. But the other one I think of for like static shots that are very intentional is, weirdly enough, they use the staticness of it to sell the distance traveled when it came to when Paul was being tailed. And it's just shot of like where they were, and you see him going, and you just see the figure behind, and it's selling the kind of eeriness and the tension as it's just a new shot, and it's like a different location entirely, and he's still walking, and you just look back and you just see there's the figure, and then another shot, and there he is, until the final static shot of him just sitting down and just waiting for the guy to come up.
What do you want?
And it's just like, it's just a great, like, by making it so static, it sells the distance traveled more, because you see that like these shots have almost nothing in common with each other. And also it sells the loomingness of the guy, because you just, it's so focused in on like, can you see him? Is he there? There he is. Like,
it's like the
so
sense
good.
of urgency that this guy is following him in, because he traveled a really far distance to get to that park. And so it's like the fact that the guy is still following him, it's like, oh man. Hey,
it builds this again dogged consistency of who this guy is, that he was kind of stalking. He was stalking her apartment and knew that this guy was like somebody that could help her or help him, and then proceeded to just this guy. You know, like that sets up a lot about his character and the kind of person he is that doesn't really get said in the film, but is kind of shown with how, you know, not accepting the annulment and other, like, these things all kind of lend into themselves of like, this is a very like kind-hearted man, but he's also a man that does not let go of anything, you know, which literally plays in with her very much. But yeah,
I love this. I love the movie trope where when someone's following someone, they like are following way too close, and it's like, stop! You're good. You're terrible at this. But I felt like in this movie, like they did a cool thing where he knew that he was going to be followed, but otherwise, I think the guy actually was following really well. Like he was like super sneaky at that like, food stand, and then he was like way behind on that shot up the hill, the grassy hill or whatever. I was like, this is actually, he's following like believably. If he didn't already know that he was going to be followed, I don't think he would have seen it. Just a nice little touch.
But also, it also felt like he's also following with the intent to catch up.
Yeah, very
you
true.
know.
Yeah. But I just there's that thing in movies where it loses believability right away, because it's like you're terrible at this. They're gonna see you, and they don't see them. I'm like, come on.
I actually
right
had
behind
that in,
me, isn't he?
I actually had that in Vertigo, which is kind of part of the plot of Vertigo, I think. But like,
I did think about Vertigo,
bro. He sucks. Like,
oh yeah, he's terrible.
He is here, and he is here.
Yeah.
Like,
I had the same thought during Vertigo. Yeah.
I think it plays into the story weirdly enough with kind of the things around her, but like,
Yeah.
this guy's supposed to be a PI. Like, what's going on here, dude?
Right.
Like,
Man. Well,
I got to get my computer charged real quick.
okay.
It's dying.
And so is the stream. All right, we're ending the pod.
Keep going. Y'all keep going.
Well, I was gonna say, but since Michael went away, I guess I can't say it. But I'm gonna say it anyways. I feel like we could start, getting close here to wrapping up. But I guess, are there any like final things, like moments, anything on your mind that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about for a little bit?
It's a movie. It's the best kind of comfort movie in a lot of ways, I think, and I'm excited to love it now because I'm like, oh, I could definitely see myself rewatching this and it being just kind of a cozy movie. And again, ending with the kiss in the rain is that reassuring, like I can rewatch this and it's going to end happy every time. So I can use it. It can be a comfort movie. But I'm looking forward to it, seeing it from the beginning, knowing who she is and what she's running from and what, like, it feels like a movie that's going to work really well on rewatch, with just knowing from the beginning in all of her, just the kind of, she calls herself a slob, and you just see the way, like her apartment with shoes, in the fruit basket and stuff, with like the lighter and everything, like just seeing like this funny introduction to like this very, not absent-minded, but just this kind of carefree, young woman, but then knowing from the beginning, though, just kind of the state of like who she actually is and everything. I feel like it's gonna be. I'm excited to be able to rewatch it.
Yeah,
Same.
no, I agree.
I love
for me, it really
rewatching.
is. You go ahead,
Sorry.
Michael. You go ahead first.
Sorry, man. That delay. I love rewatching movies after I've watched it the first time. I love the initial viewing of a movie that I've never seen before. There's nothing like watching a movie for the first time you've never seen and absolutely loving it. But then I almost love even more watching it again with the perspective of knowing with knowing the context and knowing where people end up, and you can actually see things that you didn't see before. I love that almost maybe even more. Yeah. I think rewatching movies is one of the best things ever. And when people say they don't rewatch movies, I'm like, what? How do you not rewatch movies?
How do you build like personal like, to me, rewatches are where great movies become like personal favorites.
100%.
Like it's the familiarity. I mean, there are sometimes those movies that, first viewing, you're like, okay, yeah, that's an all-timer, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like sometimes that familiarity is what really, that's where a personal level of love for a movie comes from.
Yep. Agreed.
And as somebody on the other side of that like the whole reason I brought this to y'all, to Banter Hunter, it is because of that comfort pick that, like, I just have watched this thing several times over the years. It really does because, as we talked about, there's so much depth to the characters, especially the main characters. It gives you so much to feed on in a movie that you already are kind of entranced by. It lets you see right away with Holly, like, one of the first things she does is talk about the Mean Reds. Like, one of the first things she brings up is like, you ever have that feeling? And he's like, yeah, sure. I think they all have something like that. And the way you mentioned how things are set up so well, of OJ talking about how she was a country hick when he met her, and all these little details, and then even the craft of the movie coming more and more into play. We've talked about a lot of the shots. I didn't even notice or think about some of the shots we talked about today until this very viewing. Or, I mentioned the guitar in the cab or whatever. I didn't really think about it until this particular viewing. Like the more you do just sit with it, there's so much there. And at the end of the day, like it does end happy, but there's something very comforting about it, in that, because it's not about fake people. It's fictional, but like nothing about this film feels like it's about a fictional person with fictional problems. It feels it's a movie set in New York for a reason, that this is talking to a generation almost of I don't even know which generation, whatever, but like a generation of people that are finding themselves doused in things to just distract and winnow away life. Just saying that reach out. And I feel like it connects also with our generation well, in a very different way, as we have our own ways of distracting and finding ways specifically to not connect to people. I think it's something that we talk about in our generation a lot, and I think there's benefit to being self-reliant, but I actually think that's a sort of critique I have against movies like, say, Barbie, is that it very much insists that we don't need each other. It almost and maybe that's a whole other movie, but like I think a lot of the things it talks about is that, like, you don't need me and I don't need you. We can be like this. And I'm not saying there's no good things to learn there, but I think as an overall message, there's something very like striking about this finality of like, no, people are made to be with people, and we shouldn't abandon that about ourselves, even if it's painful, even if it's hard, so I will always love this film. It will always, with maybe with an asterisk because of the whatever stuff we talked about at the beginning, but it will always be a 5 in my heart, a 5 out of 5 in my heart. Like, I can't rate it anything less, just because of how much of a comfort and how much of like just a well-rounded, perfect experience it is for me.
Yeah. Real quick, I wanted to touch on what you're saying. Our culture is like American culture is so individualistic. And even like the era of this film, like releasing, that's like, I feel like that's when like the 50s and the 60s is really when we see like a big push on like individualism in American culture. So to have a film like this kind of like go against the grain in that way is really interesting, and it is like such an important thing for us now, even more. Like, I feel like this film is very important now for like our culture or our generations and our culture, because we are so individualistic now, and there's so much like pressure on identity, like who are you, who do you want to be, that is like our generation's like thing. And so that kind of adds like another layer to it of like, okay, well, this is a classic, and there is elements of it being of its time, and it was made in that time for this audience, but generations later, decades later, like it still like stands the test of time. Like, it is timeless in that way. So yeah, I think this is just absolutely phenomenal. I guess, do we want to go ahead and give our ratings for the film now, since Vuke already started that?
I think
That's
I
true,
did
I
too
did.
earlier. Whoopsie.
We can officially do it,
Yeah.
The official rating. Vuke, start us off.
Yeah, so for me, it is a true 5 of 5. There's a reason it is one of the most iconic posters of all time. There's a reason Audrey Hepburn is one of the most iconic actresses of all time. And this movie is a large part of that as well. And like I said, just every single, the score, the actors, the depth in the story, the fact that despite being so serious, it has genuine levity and great, like whatever. It is an all timer for me. It is a 5 out of 5.
Michael, what about you?
Yeah, for me, it's a 4.5 out of 5. I totally get like having it as a comfort all time and having it as a 5 out of 5. I do think for me this is my first viewing, and the Mickey Rooney stuff does
It's so bad.
it makes it impossible for me to give it the 5 out of 5. Unfortunately, without that, it's perfect for me. Other than that, like literally, I don't think I had a problem with it at all. Not that I can remember. It's just so enchanting. It's a beautiful film. It's a thoughtful film, and James, you brought that up. It could have gone in a more, depressing ending, or, more somber or whatever, but I'm glad it didn't. I'm glad that they chose the ending that they did, because it does give it more of a comfort and even a timelessness to it. And I like that it is a rom-com, but it really takes itself seriously in what it's trying to convey. And I really love movies like that. And again, the dialogue, I just think the dialogue is some of the best dialogue in any movie I've ever watched. Honest to God, I think it's natural, but beautiful at the same time. The way that they talk, it's enchanting. It really is. So 4 out of 5 out of 5. It would be 5 without the thing.
Without the thing.
Or just calling it the thing. No humanity there.
If you look at my Letterboxd review, it literally just says at the bottom,
we don't talk about
we don't talk about Mr. Yunioshi, and that's it. That's
Yeah, Jimmy Jam.
Yeah, I'm the same as Michael. It is one of those things where, like, if the question is asked of like, is there a way to significantly improve this? If the answer is yes, then I just feel like by definition I can't give it 5 stars. But gosh, again, like I said, going into this, I expected to like it, but I did not expect it to love it this much. And like for it to be knocking on 5 stars for me is like wild, because I did not expect that. And yeah, I do a lot of it. I think so much of it is amazing, but I really do think, like, gosh, Audrey Hepburn is one of those, like, there's Orson Welles recently. I feel like Russell Crowe is one of those, especially like 2000s. Russell Crowe is just one of the most magnetic, watchable, charismatic kind of, like,
yeah.
Everybody else looks lesser because he's the most like watchable, exciting presences ever. And to me, Audrey Hepburn is one of those, as this movie showed, of like, good gosh, everything she did is like all the faces, all the intonations, I'm like, this is one of those like once in a generation levels of just pure natural charisma. And like she carried, like, the way she carries like all of the humor and drama that the movie asks of her is like phenomenal.
Yeah. Great thoughts across the board from all three of you guys. The first time I watched this, I gave it 4 stars. But your boy bumped it up to 4.5. Because this rewatch really, like I said, it just clicked with me, and there were so many things in it that I didn't see before. And I think that this is a movie that absolutely begs a rewatch, not just one, but many. I could see myself revisiting this one yearly now, I feel like. So I think this is just absolutely phenomenal. The the character holds it back for me. It really does.
The Thing?
Yes, The Thing. If he was not as prominent in the film, I could give it the pass and be like, hey, this is the thing that we don't like because this is bad, but it's not a detriment to the overall film because it's just a sign of it of the time. But it's too much a sign of the time in this.
When he showed up in her apartment with the cops, I was like, no, not him, not being important to the plot. No, it was so sad.
Yeah, but otherwise, like, I think this is basically pitch perfect as it can get. So I'm a huge fan of this now. But yeah, thank you, Vuke, for picking this because this was a ton of fun to chat about and rewatch. And I'm really glad that everyone here just absolutely loved it. And thanks for just joining us and being on the pod.
It's been a genuine pleasure, one, to pick it, because again, how much of a comfort pick it is for me, but also I love all you people. You know, I think last time I was on here was for episode 2. I think I talked about that
with the clones.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
I want to say I went on a discussion here about that. I know I've talked about it a couple times on some.
That was
podcasts.
when
it
we
was
were doing
on the
Star Wars
movie
with
hangs,
Ryan.
right?
Maybe
That's
it
whenever
was.
Ryan was
Maybe.
doing.
Oh yeah.
But no,
Luke was on one of the movie hangs. I wonder if you guys may have talked about it then.
I was on one of the movie hangs. I was. But I always love coming on board. I don't join chat very often because I'm very all over the place, but whenever I do, it's so fun. It's just one of the best little movie podcasts there are out there for me. So always happy to
The
be on
greatest
board,
of all
my
time.
friends.
Go ahead and hit the subscribe. And
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh man. Yeah, no, this has been an absolute blast. But before we go, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave some comments below. In the description, I asked about what's your favorite rom-com. Let us know in the comments. And if you're listening to this on the podcast feed, make sure that you join in on our live streams because we do them weekly. And go join our Facebook group, Banter Fodder, a film and television discussion group. All of that stuff is in the link tree in the description below. Until next time, go watch some movies on the big screen. There's a lot of them that are out right now that are great, whether you're rewatching Superman or Fantastic Four. Unfortunately,
Great movie, Fantastic Four.
Or if you're unfortunately watching Jurassic World, I haven't seen it. I'm just making a joke. Or go watch Weapons and all these other little movies that are coming out right now that could use that support. Go support those local theaters, buy some concessions because that helps them. And we will see you guys next week for The Third Man. All right.
Bye.
See y'all later.